Yeah, so it looks like there's this bridge right here we could hop onto and get to the stream legally. And then we could haul down to the mouth of the river and then work upstream back to the bridge and then pop out, and depending on how that goes, we could hit a new stretch or take it from there.
Seems to make sense. So what we're dealing with here, we've got a feeder creek that goes into a bigger river in the area. There's probably been some bigger fish that have been swimming up into the feeder creek. We're gonna jump in on a bridge, work an easement all the way down, and then fish our way back up.
Rainbow. Great. So we just started fishing this right at the mouth. Water's perfectly stained. All three fish species are in this river. We've got rainbows, brooks, and browns. And right away pulled out this beautiful little rainbow. So we're gonna get him back.
Another nice little rainbow. All right, so I casted this spot probably about a dozen different times, just picking it apart. And I was just about to move on. I hit one last little pocket at a different angle, and that's how I was able to get this fish. So it's important to pick a spot apart enough so that you can get on some fish, but you don't want to spend too much time. You don't want to waste your whole day on one hole. You're better off covering ground, but just be surgical about how you pick stuff apart, and a lot of times you'll be rewarded.
Sweet. 3 for 4 on the rainbows.
Nice.
Yeah. That was a long stretch of either no fish, or we had, I don't know, probably 8 fish that would swoop at it, hit the spinner, not catch the hook, just come up and hit it. I don't know if they were just lethargic or what, but I just switched over to a smaller size spinner coming down from the Magnum, thinking that maybe that would help get them to actually commit, because it seemed like they were just coming up and hitting the side of it or hitting the spinner, the blade itself. And like 5th cast switching spinners, and we got one on.
That first stream we hit wasn't exactly what we were hoping for. We picked up a handful of rainbows, a couple browns, saw some nice browns, but the fish were kind of lethargic. They were hanging deep, and we weren't vibing on it too much. So right now we're rolling to totally new water, a place we've never seen before, about 10 miles from where we just started at the other place. And you never know what you're gonna find, but hopefully we can stumble into some bigger fish or even just some numbers. But it's all about the fish. So we're having a good time out here. What else would a guy be doing?
So the water is really heavily stained right now. We were very doubtful when we first came down. Thought that this might be a lost cause because of how dirty the water is, but within the first 5 minutes you lost one, had another one, and I just caught this nice little brown right here.
New water, new fish. Pretty sweet. I prefer to rig up both my spin rod and my fly rod with 8 to 9 pound mono. Some guys like Josh prefer braid, but just from experience and history, mono is just something I'm kind of comfortable with, for one. For two, a lot of the fish out here, there's some tanks in here, but a lot of them are pretty small, and I've just found that mono gives you enough sensitivity to feel when they bite. Unlike braid, you won't feel it instantly, so you kind of have a second to let them take the hook, and you have a second to kind of let them eat before you set the hook on those smaller fish.
Someone like my brother is more into mono. It definitely has its attributes, but for me, I'm a braid guy. I really like throwing braid, anywhere from like that 6 to 8 pound range. And the reason I like it is because you get maximum sensitivity, so you're never gonna miss the feeling of a bite. And you can really manhandle your spinner or whatever lure you have on. A lot of the stuff we fish in it's like the jungle out here. Super tight quarters, a lot of branches and deadfalls and weeds and rocks and all this stuff. And personally, I just like to be able to horse my lure out of that stuff. And yeah, sometimes you get caught up and you can't get it out of there because the braid is so strong, but it's just my preference overall to fish the trout with the braid, even if we're talking about skinny trout. Well, we're wrapping up our evening here for the first episode of the Drip on Mossy Oak Go. And this stream that we're at we're vibing on it pretty good. One of the cool things about fishing in the driftless area of Minnesota, Wisconsin, part of Iowa, and part of Illinois is all the trout stream conservation efforts that go on around here. As you can see with this stream, there's a pile of boulders lying here, and that means that they're going to be working on the stream even more than they already have by adding some structure to not only make the water better for the trout, but just to improve the overall health of the stream. So groups like Minnesota Trout Unlimited formed something called the Driftless Area Restoration Effort, and they're putting a lot of money into these trout streams so folks like you and I can come fish them. So we're excited to get out here on this one tonight and hopefully wrap up a great evening on the Drip.
See that? Just came swooping up after it. Right here, I mean, like 5 feet in front of me, like pushed my spinner all the way up to the surface when he's swarming up. Good fish, good fish. Yeah! Sweet! Right out of that little pocket right there. Unbelievable. You know, we started Skinny Trout because simply for our love for the fish.
for the trout. It doesn't matter what variety, it doesn't matter what technique, doesn't matter where you're fishing them. We just love trout, and our stomping grounds where we grew up doing this, skinny water, small streams, tight shots, just skinny fish, skinny water. They don't have to be big for us to love them, but that was a dang nice fish right there, and it meant a lot to me because he came out of a skinny little pocket right there in the corner.
Well, today's been a wild ride. We've covered a lot of water, caught a ton of fish. Unfortunately, our light's running out. We're gonna push on for a little bit. Catch you next time on The Drip.